There's a part of humanity that needs understanding. There needs to be vulnerability because there's a lot of households where vulnerability is literally like a disgrace. If I cried, it was shut down. Like I had to suck my, can I cuss on your podcast?
Of course.
Suck my shit in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is the BS4 podcast, and I'm your host, Bria Villa. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of the BS4 podcast. I'm your host, Bria Villa, and we have back on the couch the one, the only, Brittney Hope.
Hi.
We have already chatted before. If you tuned into our previous episode, we talked about female embodiment, all the beautiful work that Brittney does. She is a healer. She helps women find their feminine energy, heal the things within them, understand their bodies. She's been doing this work for 4 years now. She runs a business called Beaming by Britt, and you're actually able to work with her. So if you want to work with a healer, if you want to work on really embodying your true self and really becoming the best version of yourself as a woman, she's the right person to go to. So I'm excited to have you back on the couch. Welcome.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about a topic that I think initially, and sometimes still does, make me a little bit uncomfy.
Okay.
Because it makes a lot of people uncomfy. Mm-hmm. And that topic is vulnerability.
Yes.
And so we're going to talk about what vulnerability truly is. Mm-hmm. We're going to just kind of get into all that it entails, what it means to us. So today the B is for, what did we say it was
B is for bridging.
Yes, the B
Creating
is for bridging.
Creating a bridge for the gap, because vulnerability, it starts over here. Mm-hmm. And then in order to be vulnerable, there's a certain level of confidence that comes with that. So I think what we're really trying to talk about is bridging that gap so it feels a little bit more comfortable so it's not uncomfortable.
For sure. Period. One thing about Britt, she gonna come through.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, I'm excited because I feel like we've had sidebar conversations. We've had tangent combos just about, we've actually like been vulnerable with one another, shared things that are uncomfortable.
For sure.
Family wounds, trauma, experiences that we've had. And we haven't even gotten into the full breadth of things, so I guess we'll see where this conversation goes. But I want to talk about vulnerability because I think sometimes my struggle is with this podcast. I give myself to an extent, but I don't feel like I give myself fully. And I think it's because I don't always know who's on the receiving end. And I want to trust that people who are listening, who are spending their time tuning in and supporting me, are doing that. They're supporting me. There's always like this voice in the back of my mind. And I think a reality or a protection voice of like, not everybody is doing that. I think the majority of people listen because they do support me and they want to. But I do think that there's people who listen because they want to find something to tear me down. Really? And so, or not majority, I think a small amount of people do that. And I think that's natural. Like, I think that there's always going to be that in life. And so I've had people literally DM me and be like, I want you to go deeper about yourself, or I want you to like share more about who you are or talk about your experiences more. And there's just certain things that I'm like not quite there yet on a vulnerability aspect.
Yeah, and it could also have a lot to do with where you're at within your healing journey, right?
For sure.
Because if there's things that you have to still work through or like acknowledge within yourself, it will be hard to be vulnerable, especially with people, you know? So when you sit with things more, that's when you unlock things for yourself. That's a big part of vulnerability, is getting comfortable in your solitude with it. Because like what we were talking about in the last episode, it's like there's a difference between self-love and self-care. A big part of self-love, especially within vulnerability, is feeling like that discomfort and like just sitting with it, because self-love can be invigorating, could be like beautiful, could be feminine, sexual, sensual, whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
But it can also be really ugly. And
sure.
in those moments of solitude is when you can find that permission to be vulnerable. So that way, when you want to go do it in real time, when you're collaborating with others, it feels a little bit more natural because you've visited it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, 100%. I feel like you're like unlocking certain things in my brain right now, but you're right. I think that's the beauty in vulnerability is, and maybe we should define it. Like, what does it feel like? What is it? And I think a question that we had, hold on.
One of the biggest things I think from one of the questions you said, vulnerability is beautiful when you're being vulnerable with people that deserve it. That is one of the questions that came up on there. Knowing when it's oversharing or when it's weakness, right?
Yeah.
And I've really found that vulnerability feels the best and the most authentic when I'm having that experience with somebody that it almost feels like my vulnerability was so honored and seen and just respected.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm like, wow, that was a gem. That was a vulnerability gem. And you know what those feel like. It's like, who, like that person, just like even when we were just talking now, it just feels like, wow, like you just absorbed this. Now you just got a piece of me, a piece of understanding, and you cared enough to listen. And when that vulnerability is shared and exchanged, it's like, like, and especially like, not even for the moment that you're experiencing with that person, but like, wow, like I was able to unlock that and be vocal about it. You know, that's really hard.
Yeah.
So I don't think vulnerability is an overshare if it's with the right person.
I agree.
Genuinely. And I don't think vulnerability is weakness. I think vulnerability is strength.
100%.
And to be honest, not anybody in my family practices vulnerability. Like some of my sisters, we honestly all have our own journeys within that. I feel like we're the generation that's trying to break a lot of trauma, generational trauma. But like some of the adults around me, like it's a hard thing for them to access. So when I feel the ability to be vulnerable come naturally, I'm like, dang, I feel strong.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Literally. And I think part of that is generational curses, if you will. Just having a very Latin family. I think the generation before us, our parents' generation, naturally weren't accepting, open, willing to be vulnerable.
For sure.
But I also think there's another layer of like cultural differences.
For sure.
And like I think just in a Latin family, like emotions are just like not met with safety.
Yeah.
And so vulnerability felt like an opportunity for you to
be scrutinized.
Yeah. It didn't feel like you had a safe place to land.
Yep.
And so I guess being vulnerable for me has always been difficult because I didn't know how I'd be met with it, or I didn't feel like I had the space to be.
Yeah.
And I don't blame anybody for this.
Yeah.
Like I want to be clear that
to each its own.
Yeah. And people have different tools
for sure
that they either had access to or haven't had access to.
Right.
And you only know what you know. But I think now, if I'm willing to do the work, I think there comes a point where you can start to hold people in your life to the standard that you're setting for yourself, and wanting to be vulnerable with them would also require them doing the work to be vulnerable with themselves and then in turn you. Yeah. And so I think vulnerability can feel like oversharing, or can feel like maybe not weakness, but uncomfortable because of your audience. And so I like back to the pod, because people have said like, oh, you can get more vulnerable and all these things. It's like, well, I think about the person who isn't that safe place to land. And as much as I want to be like, screw them, who cares? I also know that there's things about me that are important to me, that I keep close to my heart, that are a part of my story, that I don't always want to open up to everyone. Yeah. And so I'm figuring out how to navigate that.
Especially to this capacity.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I have millions of viewers right
Yeah.
now. Also, I'm not saying that that wouldn't be the case one day.
Yeah. Well, you know what's really interesting about this? Somebody recently, it was within the last week, I was telling them my story a little bit, and they were like, oh, you probably shouldn't tell people that. Said something like that. It was about my journey. And I was like, It was the first time I was like, is that an overshare? Or is it the wrong person? But I really realize that when I'm vulnerable, especially, well, also I have a very like, I don't care attitude. Like I'm gonna be me. If the hater's gonna hate, let them hate. I could care less. I really would. It's crazy, but like I love sharing because you just never know who needs to hear it. You know what I mean? And also too, I feel like one thing God does do is create protection around me. So I know like from a very deep inner knowing that like I am safe, I am protected. If something does come my way, it might just be like a whim. Like, oh, well, that happened. You know, like I'm just going to let it be like a car that passed by versus like sitting with that hate. Why would I do that? That the only thing that's going to do is like dim my light. I work really hard to be this beam of light. I'm going to keep it shining. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Like, oh my gosh, I would never give anybody that power because I love shining bright. Like, damn it.
You're so cute, Britt. I literally love her. But like,
oh my gosh. But sometimes you just have to keep it that light.
Yeah.
Because, you know, even when people message you and they're probably like, you need to get more vulnerable, does it kind of make you want to cave in even more? Like, are the lights too on you? Or like, what comes up for you within that?
That's a good question. I just feel like a tug in both directions. Like I almost feel like paralyzed by it.
Wow.
So I don't feel like I want to cave in, but I also don't feel like I want to rise to the occasion. It's like I feel both. So then I just feel stuck. So I feel like I'm kind of like in the middle of like, there's things that I want to lean into that I know that I could lean into, but it's more like, what would that mean for me, not for the person listening? And then there's like a part of me that's like, ooh, like I feel like this like urge to kind of like pull away a bit. And it's because it's like, oh my gosh, like how are you perceiving me?
Right.
And so I'm like, ooh. But the tug to go into rising to the occasion feels stronger than the tug to pull away. But I know that both exist. And they both don't feel like overpowering pulls. And I think I need to figure out what that means.
Yeah, and you know, there's not a lot of examples of it, right? Like that's something really important to talk about. Like when I watch a lot of podcasts and stuff, like I do sometimes sit there and think to myself, like, am I an overshare? Because like there's a lot of people with podcasts out there that are not talking about that. Like, and I don't want to say every podcast I listen to is like they're sugarcoating, because that's definitely not what I'm feeling. Like I get a lot of gems from a lot of podcasts that I listen to, but like I don't see a lot of human examples anymore. And that is something that I am like trying to navigate within myself. And I think that's why I've always felt so called to be so open, because I feel like this is the type of content that like our people need. Like there is a part of humanity that needs understanding. There needs to be vulnerability, because there's a lot of households where vulnerability is literally like a disgrace. Like I can be very honest with that. Like my family was a very much like, if I cried, it was shut down. Like I had to suck my, can I cuss on your podcast?
Of course.
Suck my shit in. You know what I mean? And it was debilitating to my spirit. And that was one of the biggest reasons I struggled so hard with vulnerability. And that's when vulnerability felt like weakness, because I could not say that shit with my chest because I was so choked up. I had so many things. Like I felt like somebody choked me my whole life because I couldn't get my story out, and it was frustrating. I was like, I was never really this well-spoken, but shout out to my grandpa. He's the reason that I talk the way that I do. Go, grandpa. But yeah, I had to get really comfortable with it. And the more I practiced telling my story and really letting my vocal cords vibrate and feeling what it felt like to say the hard things out loud to the hardest people I've ever had to talk to, right? It really shaped like being more comfortable with it and understanding like the duality of like, okay, this person not supposed to share that with. Got it. But like, I'm still happy I did it. I'm happy I got to feel that discomfort, because now I know what that feels like. So now when I share with the right person and it hits so good and it comes out so good and I was able to release that and like feel it for myself. I'm a big feeler. If I can feel one of my energy centers activated,
Yeah.
It's the best feeling. I'm like, oh, I'm locked level.
You're so cute.
I'm like, holy moly. Oh my gosh. Holy moly is crazy.
Holy moly.
Holy moly.
Yes.
I'm crying.
You're so cute, though.
I know, but it's true. It's like,
I love that excites you, because I think I was sitting here listening to
I
you.
just love life shit, really.
No, for real.
I love it.
I mean,
It
yes.
makes life so meaningful.
Yes. No, it does. And I'm sitting here listening to you, and then I'm asking myself this question, and then I'm asking you this question. And I'm like, okay. The moments where we're like, that's not the person I should have shared that with. In reality, if our truth is our truth, shouldn't we be able to share it with whoever and not care what they think?
Yes. But that's where insecurities come into play.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's like
insecurities and intuition. Like, you know, like when I say, especially now, because I don't really put myself around people that can genuinely make me like uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Fair.
Or like that I care what they think, right? But it's more so the discomfort of like, ooh, like your reply didn't feel sufficient to what I just said.
right.
Like I just shared something
Yeah.
to the depths. You were
Yeah.
in my shadows with me. I invited
sure.
you into my forest floor. What? Like
Yeah.
you did not honor what I just said. Actually, were you even listening? Like what is happening? That's what I'm talking about. That's the wrong people to share with. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's like, I think where my brain is going with this, those are the wrong people to share with. But it doesn't mean that it was the wrong thing to say.
Right. Yes.
Yes.
Say that again.
They're the wrong people to share with, but it doesn't mean that it was the wrong thing to say.
Yes.
And that is where I struggle, is knowing that there's always going to be an audience that's wrong for my vulnerability.
Right.
But there is never anything wrong with my vulnerability.
Right.
And I don't know why I just had this revelation sitting here saying this.
Yeah.
But like, that is what's real for me. That's the pull. That's the pull that I feel of like, what I'm saying is not wrong if it's my truth. What I'm saying is not wrong if it's honest. I do believe that like there's ways to say things.
For sure.
I think that there's understanding your audience and how you share them.
Right.
I don't want to feel like I have to withhold truth.
Right.
Or withhold who I am for a certain audience.
Yeah, and I find myself as I get older and as I embrace life more, I'm more reluctant because it goes against how I live my life. Like, it is my truth. Why am I keeping it inside?
Yeah.
Like, it's like it mind boggles me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like in your work, how do I want to phrase this? I'm sure you can see the wheels turning in my mind right now. One thing about Britt, she's a seer.
Oh, yeah.
So like the last episode that we filmed, there was a comment that she made that I didn't realize I had a reaction to.
And I clocked it quick.
And she clocked it quick.
And I was talking.
And she was talking. She's a seer for sure. And as the episode ended, afterwards, she was like, that thing that I said, what is that about? And I was like, well, what do you mean? Like,
what did you see?
And she was like, you just had like a reaction to what I said. And I was like, well, yeah, there's something there for sure. But anyways, I just like love people who see you, and I love that.
And it goes back to what we're talking about as far as like knowing what it feels like to be vulnerable and it to be respected, honored, and appreciated, because it's like, wow, like you're actually helping me understand more about myself in real time just because you made the time to see me and be an active listener. That's a big thing now in society. We don't have a lot of active listeners. And I've even had to practice this myself. My healing sessions, honestly, have really helped me. Like when somebody says something, I just want to be like, because like I think that's a little bit of my ADHD, not diagnosed, but like perhaps. I don't know. But like, I'm always like, I'm like, oh, sorry. Like, I'm not entrapped. But I get excited because I'm like, oh my God, I relate. You're mirroring me, you know?
Yeah.
But I literally have to practice myself to like, listen, because I deeply care. And it's hard to find humans on this earth plane that care.
Totally.
Like genuinely.
And this just triggered where my brain was going. Because I'm listening to you, I actually think that we spend a lot of time talking about how hard vulnerability is. But something that you just reminded me of, that this is where my thought was going. Follow me with my ADHD. Yes. Diagnosed, but she's wild up
it's
here.
on my to-do list.
Is people are so scared of vulnerability. Yeah. But I also want to talk about like the beautiful outcomes of vulnerability. Like we talk about how hard it is. Yeah. And how difficult it is.
But on the other side.
And I think a lot of people spend a lot of time there. They're like, oh my God, being vulnerable is so hard. Mm-hmm. Being vulnerable is so scary. Yeah. Being vulnerable is just the wrong audience and all these things that we just spent this whole first half of the conversation talking about. But I want to talk about like how good it feels once you are vulnerable. Yes. How good it feels to walk in your truth. How good it feels to understand yourself to that capacity. Mm-hmm. Like, especially with you and all the work that you do, you help women be comfortable in their vulnerability. Yeah. You help women become more vulnerable.
And be joyous and just embrace life to the fullest. It's exhilarating, genuinely. Like I love it. It's the funnest thing. It's shining bright.
Literally. But like, literally.
Like in the last episode we were talking about being in like your shadows and being in darkness. When you're standing in abundant light, it could be your good days, right? Because obviously you can't stand in the abundant light all the time. You'd get a sunburn.
For sure. Literally.
You gotta go in the shadows sometimes, you can't stand there forever.
For sure.
But when you're standing in that abundant light, it feels beautiful. Like even if you were to take yourself into like a visualization right now of like standing in warm sunlight, it feels like a nice hug. It's like, it just feels beautiful. It's radiant. It's freeing. And vulnerability feels that way because it's coming from like the depths of you, of like who you are, and you're strong enough to share that with other individuals and like let them feel what it's like to just tip your like light a little bit onto them and then shine together. Like that's the dope thing about vulnerability too. Being vulnerable, honestly, I think I've learned the most about vulnerability from my friends. Like just like all my girlfriends, like they're just such stars. I love them so much. And they've shown me so much about vulnerability because we ebb and flow together and we do life together, like just something as simple as like somebody calling me and like just knowing that they can cry on the other end of the phone or they're going to be there if it's like a time of need. It's like those moments when I'm vulnerable with those people and those individuals have shown me the difference.
For sure.
And it like, it's just so good. Sometimes it's heavy, but then sometimes it's like, I love this for us.
Yeah, literally. For sure. Let's talk about what that feels like, because I want people to be able to recognize it. I feel like something that honestly is an epidemic right now is loneliness.
Yeah.
We are the most connected we've ever been, but the most disconnected we've ever been. Sure. And I was saying this earlier to you when we went to breakfast, is because we have social media, because we have screens, we feel so connected to all these people, but we feel connected to very fragmented aspects of them. For sure. Very connected to like the very small things that they decide to share. And it causes for us to feel even more disconnected, oddly, because you're seeing and you have access to so many different people, their lives, their stories, the pieces, the components, the highlights of who they are and their current reality and whatever that is, but you're not actually seeing the depths, the actuality of their life. And so it's easy for comparison. It's easy to feel like, oh my gosh, this person just lives like the most fabulous, incredible life. I'm sure people even see my social media and they're like, oh my God, she like lives a great life. They probably saw us in Bali and they were like, oh my gosh.
With mine.
And it's like, well, what you don't know is Britt and I literally spent an hour today talking about the depression that we went into following
family
Bali.
Wounds and all
family
the
wounds
things.
And all the things that we've dealt with. And so I want people to realize that vulnerability, because people are so lonely, because people feel so isolated, vulnerability can feel even harder.
Yeah.
But when you are vulnerable, when you have someone to share vulnerability with, it feels even better because of how fractured society is right now. I have come to realize that like vulnerability is not always, to your point, deep.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's as simple as like sharing a small little embarrassing thing about yourself that happened that day and like laughing it off with a friend.
Yeah. It's about embracing who you are.
For sure. And I feel like vulnerability is the ability to show up authentically with the people that you were with and feel supported in that.
You know what's so interesting though about that? I feel like what you're trying to say here, vulnerability for it to be joyous, for it to feel lighthearted, for it not to be that deep, comes with a certain level of confidence. And if we go back to the word bridging, vulnerability is here, confidence is there. So in order for it to not feel like it's in your shadows, you have to be a pretty confident person.
Yeah.
So that's why creating that bridge from like confidence, which I would say is light, whereas vulnerability, I would say, is sometimes predominantly darkness, right? And I was telling Bria this earlier. It's like 95% of you is subconscious, 5% is unconscious. And you can learn a lot about that in the book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza. Have you read that? Oh my gosh, add that one to the list.
Yeah.
Crazy. Like that one will mind blow you.
I've watched a lot of his stuff, but I haven't read. Oh my
goodness. That one, it like magnificent. It's a great read. Honestly, it's becoming one of my favorites. A little bit more than the Four Agreements. Four Agreements has had first place forever, but that book, oh my gosh, like bridging the gap. He even talks about the gap. And it's interesting, but vulnerability also is accessed when you think of a bridge, right? You have one piece over here, and then you have the bridge, and then you have the other side. In the middle is that connection, right? Like, you know, when you're walking on a bridge and like you're kind of just looking out and you're like, you're taking a moment to like sightsee. That's being in the present moment. To access vulnerability and to be confident, you have to be present. You have to do both. And that's something I think a lot of people don't really like consider when they think about vulnerability. And that's why the fear comes in, because they don't see it as a moment just where it's like standing in the middle of the bridge and just like looking out and looking at something magnificent. They think it's something that's like a hard task. The bridge is already there. You just got to walk to the middle.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
It's not that deep.
No, actually. And that's making me think about everything is tied together, because in order to be vulnerable, you have to be confident.
Yeah.
But in order to be confident, you have to have accepted aspects about yourself and trust yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's a hard thing to do, is like knowing the things that you've been through. Confidence feels hard for a lot of people.
For sure.
Something that I think about often is like people who are not confident will sit there and be like, I'm not confident. Why did you say that with so much confidence?
Right?
Why did you say that with so much confidence?
Yes, like so
it's
much.
Like, no,
so
you
much
are
conviction
confident
too. Yeah.
You are confident. It's in you.
It's in you.
You just haven't accepted yourself to that level, or you haven't seen yourself in that light, but it's there.
Yeah.
The confidence that you need to have is in your own story, is in how it made you feel, is in the truth of your experience, is in the fact that you will get through or have gotten through any hard thing because you've done it.
Yeah.
You know? And so like when I think about just like sharing more aspects of me and like my story, maybe it's seated in I'm confident in my ability to get through or have confident in the fact that I've gotten through certain parts. But other parts I'm like, I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I want more people to see that not everybody's perfect. And actually, nobody likes perfect.
Oh my gosh, we're about to go in a great direction.
Yeah.
Because I have thoughts.
Okay. Nobody likes perfect. And I think we show up to see the imperfect aspects of other people. But then when you're not perfect in your authenticity, they like come for you.
Yeah, they scrutinize it.
Yeah. And like, I feel like the internet is a really tough place
for sure.
right now, because people are like, we want you to be authentic. Like, this isn't real enough. Like, you're not getting deep enough, blah, blah, blah. But then you do share the depths of who you are. And they're like, well, why'd you do this? And why'd you do that? And why'd you do this? And so it makes it so hard to be
or
vulnerable.
You do this, you do that, you share this. This is your life. It's like, you don't know my life.
Yeah.
Like, who are you to scrutinize anything?
Who are you to tell me to go deeper? Maybe this is my depth.
Like, maybe this is me being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Maybe you're just not catching it.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not tuning in.
Yeah.
Are you a loyal subscriber? Did you press the follow button?
Literally. Matter of fact, make sure you do that.
Get down there.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure. But like, I also think it comes into, again, like parasocial relationships. I think the internet is like, honestly, I've said this in other episodes, I stand on this. I think the internet's weird. I think it's weird that you can see me and
I can see that.
Follow me on here and like see aspects of me, but not really know the whole me. Like,
yeah.
you don't know I've been sitting in a hospital waiting room for the last 3 days and you wouldn't know that. Like, what even, like, that means to me and, like, who's all involved. Like, you just don't know.
And maybe it's not a matter of you not being vulnerable. Maybe it's a matter of you being reluctant to share the more private things that you move through in your life.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's just me not being willing to be publicly vulnerable.
Yeah, like, I think there's, like, selective vulnerability, you know? And, like, understanding what feels comfortable to you. You know what I mean? And, like, sitting in that more and, like, practicing it with those safe spaces so you can get to know what it feels like to tell your story or the more vulnerable parts of you, so that you can master that delivery.
Yeah, that's fair. I think obviously this is something that we have to take our own advice on. But a question that I have is, for someone who's scared to open up, where do you feel like is a good place to start?
The place that makes you the most comfortable. The most safe. The most seen, honestly, for me. Because when I first started practicing vulnerability, I didn't have a lot of safe spaces. I genuinely didn't. My healer was good, but it was also expensive. So it wasn't like always convenient, right? Or accessible.
Yeah.
When I acknowledged one of my safest places has always been my room. A locked door, knowing that it's uninterrupted. Nobody can see me. Safe space. Go where you feel the most safe. That is so important. Genuinely.
And then
makes me
once
emotional
you're
even just thinking about it. Yeah, no, like, it's a beautiful feeling to, like, just know, like, I'm deep in my solitude. I can be as vulnerable as I need right now in my moment. I give myself permission, going back to the word power, like giving yourself the permission, the power. Geez, so many P's today. Power, permission. And genuinely, like, sitting in that. It's like a beautiful experience. And that's when vulnerability can also be joyous and bright and less deep, because you've had that moment. And it's like, it's such a duality. You have to have both, because you have to ebb and flow. You can't just go one way. That's like crazy. You're gonna be so tired.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, finding comfort in whatever discomfort you're moving through.
Yeah. So let's say someone's like, okay, I'm gonna go to my room. I'm gonna lock my door, and I want to heal. What should they do first?
Honestly, what I think is
to invoke vulnerability.
Sitting. Okay, so there's something called the Ho'oponopono prayer, and it's I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And just close your eyes and just, or you can write them down, whatever makes you feel the most comfortable, and just start saying, I'm sorry that I feel bad for being vulnerable right now. I'm sorry I can't give myself permission to cry. I'm sorry that I feel choked up right now. I'm sorry that I'm about to have a vulnerable moment and I don't know how it's going to come out. I'm sorry that I feel depressed that I might stay here forever and I'm going to bed rot for the rest of my life, but thank you for giving me the permission to accept that within myself. Please forgive me for this down moment. I love you. Like, and really kissing yourself. I literally always say, like, I always like to describe women as flowers, because we have such a beautiful essence and we're so multi-layered, and within that it's like loving yourself from, like, you know, when, like, in the movies when they're like, let's kiss you from head to toe, it's like genuinely kissing yourself from head to toe, or I like to say from toe to head, because it always starts from the root. You know what I mean? So it's like really just seeing yourself for all that you are and, like, loving it, because it's so beautiful to shine and to be this blossoming flower and everything, but, like, you need to understand the depth and the origin story of your seed, you know, and, like, your roots, and that is going to make you shine so much brighter. So when we talk about being vulnerable and standing in the light of that, it's about really getting to know what makes you the beautiful rose that you are.
Literally. Oh, that's so powerful. And what comes up for me when I hear that is, on the other side of vulnerability is shame. And shame holds us back from so much.
So much.
And when you go into, what was it called? The Ho'oponopono?
Ho'oponopono prayer.
The Ho'oponopono prayer, where you're able to remove shame is in the aspect of I'm sorry and I forgive.
Yeah.
And it's about yourself.
Yeah.
You're not saying sorry to God. You're not saying, because God has already forgiven you.
Right.
So I think, like, being able, I think those two aspects of that prayer, followed by thank you, I love you, is like, I'm able to remove the shame because I'm already saying sorry for feeling it.
Yeah. And
then I'm forgiving myself for feeling it. Then I'm saying thank you because this is what it's going to teach me. And then remind myself that I love myself.
Yeah.
I think that's such a powerful tool that I want every single person listening to take away from this.
Yeah, for sure. And like even to build on that even more, when you're making a choice to relinquish yourself from the generational trauma that you were born into, it's giving yourself permission to release the weight.
Girl.
And like that's something God loves you. God will always forgive you, but I have to forgive myself for taking on the weight of other people. And that within itself is its own journey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The weight of other people, the weight of my own shame.
And that Ho'oponopono prayer helps you sit and like really just cut that cord.
Yeah.
I don't want that on me.
Yeah.
I want to feel airy. I got my own stuff to deal with.
Sure.
I want to deal with my pain. And that literally has been the totality of my healing journey. Like getting to know the tethers that are connected to me and really deciding for myself, do I want this cord connected to me or do I need to let that go? Like this is not supposed to be on me. And I could release it with so much love and like genuine goodbye.
Yeah.
So long. Yeah. Sayonara. But like I want what's best for you, but it doesn't need to be close to me. Again, going back to acknowledging like who you're supposed to be vulnerable with and who you're not.
Yeah.
And that honestly must decipher low key whether it's going to be light or dark. Is it going to be deep or not that deep? If it's to somebody that doesn't deserve it, it's probably going to be pretty deep. But like if it's to somebody that will take it, it's going to be light.
Yeah.
Honestly, it could be just as simple as that.
No.
Just know your audience.
Yeah. And I think that goes like to discernment.
Yeah. Right.
Like,
and trusting your intuition.
For sure.
Yeah.
And that means that you have to trust yourself and you have to trust the decisions that you make. And I think a lot of people struggle to do that. I think for us, it's probably easier we don't always trust our decision making. No. We were talking about this earlier. Not like sometimes perfect. We get downloads from God, from spirit, that are very intuitive that we like don't listen to because
I'm hard-headed.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm more dominant.
For sure. But
those are the hard lessons.
Yeah. Those are the lessons that you have to learn in that way. But I think like every single person, and this is like a reminder that I have to like give myself and others, every single person has the ability to deeply understand and know themselves. For sure. Every single person, man, woman, other, has the ability to be fully themselves and trust that the way that they are is exactly who they're meant to be.
That's enough.
That it is enough. And sometimes you may feel like you can't trust yourself.
No, yeah.
Sometimes you may feel like, oh my God, my decision making, like, I just don't know. I'm so indecisive. I'm so lost. I'm so
like
confused.
I'm a really confident person, but there are some moments where I'm like, whoa, that was a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Reel it in.
Same.
And I'll go back and I'm like, oh, why did I just say that?
Yeah.
And I'm
same.
like, oh man. Like,
same.
Can I erase it?
Yeah. But we're human. Yeah. And I think like,
that's when I have to remind myself really quickly though, release and let go. Like, don't sit on it. Like, let's not dwell. Like, it happened. You were vulnerable. Honor it. Move on.
Yep. So that's another piece of advice, right? So like you're vulnerable with yourself first and foremost. And then as you start to get vulnerable with other people, know that you're going to stumble. Because that's a part of human lived experience.
Yeah. You're like, embracing humanity.
We're
the
idiots.
Most human part of you. Yeah.
We do idiotic things. Like we're beautiful and we're complex and we're powerful and we're lovely.
Clumsy as hell.
But we're clumsy and we fumble because we're not meant to be perfect.
Right.
And so I think it's just honoring the fact that that is the case. And I think that's a layer of vulnerability, is honoring that like the sides of me that mess up.
Yeah.
And the sides of me that are embarrassing, or the sides of me that are silly, or the sides of me that stumble are very important sides of me as well.
Yeah.
And they deserve space too.
For sure.
So I mean I love this. Maybe we have like one more question and then we just like close it out.
Yeah.
If someone listening could only take one thing away about vulnerability today, what would you want them to know?
It's okay to be present in the moment with your raw, authentic feelings. There's nothing wrong with it. It's okay. You're not going to crumble. You're not going to deteriorate. You will be okay. And to trust yourself and to always find those safe spaces that make you feel comfortable to be vulnerable and just be here. Try to bridge that gap, because the more you bridge the gap between confidence and vulnerability, the more abundant you feel, and you'll be able to live a more fulfilling life.
Oh, that is such good advice. And I agree with you. I think vulnerability at the end of the day doesn't harm you.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. It's actually probably the most beautiful part of your human experience.
I would agree with you.
Yeah. And that's honestly why I like to live my life to the fullest.
Absolutely.
And that's why I'm in Vegas.
And that's why she's here. Yeah, I would say like I wholeheartedly agree. And I think that vulnerability is rooted in love.
Yeah.
And anything rooted in love, you can't lose.
You can't. You really can't.
I loved having this conversation with you.
This too. I can have 50 more.
I know. I'm like, we're going to keep talking after this, very likely. But make sure that you follow Brittney Hope. Yeah. I will put her at right here so you can't miss it. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend, share with someone who needs guidance on vulnerability. Share with someone that you feel like you want to have a vulnerable conversation with, and make sure that you obviously do all the things so that this show can continue to be supported. Vulnerable moment, but like, I need y'all support.
Oh, literally.
I need the likes. I need the comments. I need the subscriptions.
I feel like that TikTok where I'm like, you better push that button.
You better.
Subscribe.
You better. I'm going to tell you about my friend's podcast, and you better show up for her. But yes, please do, because I need it. And make sure that you support Brittney as well. I feel like her business is incredible. If you need to do the healing work, if you have the access to doing it, if you have the means to do it, I think it's incredible. But she also is incredible because she has a podcast.
It's on hold right now.
It's okay, but like, she has plenty of episodes.
Got 10 episodes for you though.
She has plenty of episodes that help you do the healing work that she literally designed so that women can heal who don't have access or means to be able to work with you. And I just think that's a beautiful thing. That's how you know this is her life purpose and calling. So please go give that a listen if you need additional advice. But I appreciate you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I love you. I adore you. I think that you're incredible. And so I'm so honored to have this experience with you.
No, this was beautiful.
Yay.
Love.
Okay, y'all. See you next week. Bye.
We kissed at the same time. Good job.